Hey, everybody. Welcome to Speaker Co-working for Friday, April 25th. I am Ron Story, and I'm the head of membership and product at SpeakerHub. We're joined by Angela Lewis, the head of operations. It's good to see everybody. This is our daily call, Monday through Friday, that we do with speakers from around the world, helping them to not only get on more stages, but to make those stages more profitable. So this is where they ask questions, whether you're a SpeakerHub user or not. You can come on, ask us whatever questions you got about how to get booked on more stages, and we promise to help you. So yeah, with that being said, any wins so far? Any wins since yesterday? Any wins? Any wins? Who won? Who won? Jadika, always winning. All she do is win, 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 no matter what.
I'm hanging in here. Want to let you know that, to my surprise, I got a speaking presentation from one of my podcast interviews. So it's a group coming up and they want to know about reflexology. So
There it is.
that's all I can say. Speaker Hub works.
Hey man, look, let me tell you. I tell people all the time, best known beats best any day. And if you happen to be the best known and the best, it's hard to beat you. It's hard to beat you, you know. So high five Jadika for getting more known. Again, a lot of us are already trustworthy and we're already likable. People just don't know about us. So the more you get on stages, you never know who's listening. You never know who's listening. AJ Vassar, DJ Vassar, we the best.
Right. So, my thing is, I'm always going on podcasts, but one of the things that I did that you kind of suggested, and I just want to show people how it's working. You suggested me to start a podcast for myself so I can have my own stage. And what's happening is a lot of the people that told me no about coming on their podcast, like I have the emails where they said no. When they come on mine, they're like, "Hey, why don't you come on mine? Let's do a pod swap." Like I didn't even know what that was. But it's like I've gotten several people that told me no initially. Now that I have my own, they're willing to do a pod swap, so I'm able to go on theirs.
No, it's important. We talk about that all the time. There's a great speech from the Pro Speaker Summit from a guy named Iman Ajay. And what Iman talks about is how when he first came to the US, he didn't speak fluent English, but he wanted to be a speaker in English. So what he did is that he created a local business association in Vancouver and invited all the top business leaders to come speak at his association, knowing that they would feel in debt and have him to come speak at their thing once his English got better. And now he runs Speakertunity. So I mean, having your own platform is a form of thought leadership, right? You know, you got your own stage, so people have to respect that. I'll give you a great example of this, right? Most people would respect who? Michelle Obama. Even if you don't like Barack, most people don't have a problem with Michelle, right? If Michelle Obama, Bonnie, knocked on your door, she said, boom, 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 boom. Would you let her in? What you would let her in? You unmute? Okay. Bonnie said she would let her in, right?
I would let her.
Right. Now, let's say it was Barack Obama that was with her. And this is the time when he was the president. He's the most powerful man on earth, right? When they walked in, would you just let them roam around your house?
I'd invite them to have a seat and ask them if they want me to make them tacos.
Yeah, but he the most powerful man on earth. You gonna tell him what to do?
My house. They won't steal. I'll say, there's the house. Be my guest.
Most powerful people on earth. You gonna tell them to sit on the couch?
It's the best looking room in the house when you first walk in. What can I say?
Yeah. No, let me tell you why that's important. Because no matter who you are outside of my house, this is still my house. This is still my house. You could be whoever. You could be the president of the galaxy, the guardian of the galaxy. When you come in my house, you better respect my house. You know, the president can't go on Oprah Winfrey's show and start telling the cameraman, hey man, lower that camera over there. And hey, lady, pull down the shade. We need less light. He can't, this Oprah studio, you don't go in somebody else's house and tell them what to do. So what having your own platform does is it gives you the ability to have an adult to adult conversation right from the beginning. When you're on their platform, at best, right, it's adult to adult. But sometimes we come in and they kind of make us feel a little bit beneath them. Do you see what I mean? But in your house, you always gonna be the boss in your house. They can't nobody come on your podcast and say, AJ, hey man, why don't you do something different with the back, with that wall back there? Why don't you, turn the books around so we can see? No, you're like, dude, shut up. This is my show. Don't tell me what to do on my show. You ain't got to be on my show. So having your own platform automatically positions you as a thought leader in that space. If you don't believe me, look at the news. The reporters on the news are not more knowledgeable than the people that they interview, but it's their channel. So you know what the smart people that's being interviewed got to do? They got to play by the rules if they want to be on that person's channel. So just remember that having your own platform is a sign of authority, right? The most and people look at you differently. So I'll tell you a funny story. And for the last 2 months, I've been doing daily calls. Y'all seen them bump into the back of here every day, right? So those ended yesterday. No more of those, right? But I did almost 600 calls over the last 2 months. And the most surprising thing was that people were like, wait, you got 42 employees. Why the heck are you doing sales calls, right? But they didn't understand the bigger picture of what I was doing. But I can tell you, it kind of diminished their thought about me. Just a little bit, because they're like, well, wait a minute, if it's that big, why is he doing that? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, this isn't, people still have their tendencies, not judgments. We won't say that, but they still have their tendencies and expectations that this person should be doing this thing. And if you appear to not do that thing, then they're like, oh, well, it ain't as special as I thought it was. Sometimes disrespect is all they respect. Let me say that again. Sometimes disrespect is all that some people respect. Not that it's right. It's just that they're so used to people being above them, looking down on them, or being authoritative, that anytime that you're in that position and you don't act that way, they're like, well, what's wrong with you? Is something wrong with your product too? And I never understood it, but I do understand it in so many ways, right? Because it's just a tendency. We look at them a little funny. So have your own platform. A thought leader without its own framework, not really a thought leader. If all you're doing is quoting other people, you're just a thought regurgitator, if I said the word right? A thought leader without their own platform. Who are you leading if you don't have a platform? You ever been to a church that didn't have a pulpit? You see what I mean? They gonna pull something up there. He gonna stand behind something. And at some churches, they ain't letting nobody else go up there. They got a whole another stage on the side for the regular people to talk from. But the fancy folks, they get to go on the stage. But if you ain't the pastor of that church, don't you take your butt to that microphone in the middle. You got to go talk at the little people microphone that's on the side in front of the drums. And it ain't even a full stand. It's a music stand. It's like the stand you put the flute on, the flute music to play on, like in high school. That's your podium, right? But he has a platform. You see what I mean? So if you're a thought leader, you got to be leading somebody. John has a platform, right? AJ has a platform. I don't know who else has one. Jadika, I think you have a podcast too, right? So start your own platform, lead somebody, right? Because there are people who need your information, and it's evident. right? When I had, and I'm ranting on this a little bit because it's really important. When I had PitchDB, I knew all the same stuff I knew right now. The minute I had SpeakerHub, everybody wanted to talk to me. Same people I called a week beforehand didn't want nothing to do with me. You know, now I send a message, hey, look, I run SpeakerHub. Man, what's up? Where can we meet? Beforehand, they don't want to talk to me. Back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. You know? But that's what you got. So you got to put look, they're going to put you in a box anyway. So put yourself in one. Tell them which one to put you in. Build your own platform. Does that make sense? So I wanted to beat that horse because a lot of us don't have platforms. And this can't be your only platform. Coming to the daily meetings can't be the only time you speak it. Make sense? Jasmine.
Just a quick win yesterday is from that LinkedIn session. Someone reached out to me for my one page. Now, I tried to go on the regular SpeakerHub,
Uh-huh.
and then I was trying to find it, so you're gonna have to guide me to it. I was looking for that one page. I couldn't find it this morning because they reached out to me from last night to say they wanted that one page. But then when I went on there, I saw something pop up on the bottom to said there were 67 people viewing my page at the moment.
Yeah, so we have a new live counter that shows how many event planners are on the site searching through the speakers. So we get about 15,000 visitors a day.
Yeah, so this one says it's on my page. 67
Yeah, I mean, we
people.
show it for every page. Yep.
Event planner. Okay.
Mhm.
So where's my one page I could send to these people right now?
Did you create one?
Create it and just get it. I think I have one. Don't I have one up already? I have one.
Yeah, you just got to create it. I mean, we gave you all the templates. I think at least once a month we put the link to the templates in the chat for you to be able to make one. If you want one a bit more professional, be sure to go on Fiverr and get someone to do it for you.
Okay.
Got
All
it?
right.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, high five. Send it. John.
What's up? What's up? Mike
Good to see you back,
Jones.
man. You know,
Good, man. I've
it
been
was
busy.
getting a little too
man.
bright in here, man. We needed the eclipse.
Yeah, I've been missing you too, Mr. Milk Dud. Yeah, man, I just had a quick question about podcast, doing my own. You know, I've been on a bunch and I have an opportunity now to do one on this new coming NFLPA channel, one of some of my NFL buddies, and I just been vacillating on the requirements to run one, if I have the capacity to run one, if it makes sense financially to dedicate all of the time required to have a podcast, and I just would love to hear your thoughts on that because, I do have an opportunity to build one that seemed like it could be pretty popular, but I just, never thought about
Well, I mean,
hosting one.
let's define what a podcast is, right? Podcast is just a distribution channel, right? And it can be whatever type of audio you want, but a podcast just means that it's available in the podcasting apps. Just like a lot of YouTube videos can be shown on television. If you look at the Pat McAfee show, it started on YouTube, but now it's on ESPN. And it's always been available as a podcast after they get done recording it. Does that mean that show is a podcast? No. Podcasting is just a distribution channel, just like YouTube is a distribution channel, the radio is a distribution channel, and television is a distribution channel. It's just a way to distribute your content. Right now, you're putting out content and it's being distributed through LinkedIn. If you just took the audio of that and put it inside of a podcast app like Libsyn or upload it to YouTube. YouTube does free podcast hosting now, and call it a podcast on YouTube, and it'll distribute it to the other podcasting apps, right? So I think we kind of get confused at what the word podcast means. It's just a distribution channel. Does that make sense? It used to be called internet radio. And then when Apple came out with the iPod, they branded it like Apple does, and they called it podcast instead of internet radio. Does that make sense, John? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, should you do one? Well, that's a question you have to answer, right? Is it any more difficult than anything else? No, because if you're already doing the thing on LinkedIn, it's no different. It's the same time commitment that you put into LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be daily. It doesn't have to be weekly. I know some podcasts are bi-weekly, some podcasts are monthly, but the more episodes you have at the beginning, the easier it is to monetize. Because if you got an episode a week, that means you have 4 a month. If I got an episode a day, that means I got 30 a month. You see what I mean? So when I say I get 100,000 monthly downloads, even if it's only 3,000 downloads per episode, 3,000 times 30 days, that's how I get to my 100,000. But if I was only doing that same podcast weekly, I would only have 12,000 downloads for the month instead of 99,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How are they generating revenue though? Is my thing.
Well, here's the thing. There's 2 ways, right? Let me show you the 2 ways you generate revenue from a pod. Well, there's multiple ways, but selling products and services is one. Let's go to one that we know. You go to EO Fire, and John used to put the income reports up here. Looked like he took it down, right? But let's see if he has it hidden someplace in the archive, right? So, he may have taken them all down. That's wild. Let's see. He used to do an income report. I guess he just removed the whole daggone thing. He had stopped doing it for the year, but they were still up here. And
is it primarily from advertisements?
Well, he
sponsors?
he sells sponsorships. He had affiliate links that he would get paid from for ClickFunnels and a bunch of other stuff. He had guests that would pay to come on his show, right? So there were different ways that people would monetize the podcast. So let me see if I can show you. Here it is. So you can see he has NetSuite. That was one of his sponsors. You see that? Then he also offers a mentorship where you could pay him for coaching. And then he had Podcasters Paradise, right? But I don't know why he doesn't have it on there. It used to be income reports. And it used to, let me see if I can find it. EO Fire.
Hey, Ron, can I tell them one of the ways I'm doing it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to think, on every podcast that you do, you have your intro, right? I just put my offer in my intro. You'd be surprised how many people contact me, and even some of the guests, after I get finished we get finished with the podcast, they say, hey, you said something in the intro about leads. Now we talking.
Yep.
How are you marketing that? How are you marketing that, AJ? Are you just social media podcasts or something?
Media. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So here's the great thing about it. You can always put your podcast in YouTube and run ads to it. YouTube has an advantage. If you're listening to something in a podcast app, like the Apple Podcast app, when that podcast episode is over, it doesn't play another similar podcast. It will just keep playing the next episode in the same podcast. In YouTube, when you get done watching the video, let me show you, because I found what I was looking for over here. But let's come over here to YouTube. And you see this dude, right? You see me? But let me go to the default player. Guess what they got about to play next? Deep, relaxing music is up next. You see how YouTube automatically queues something up for you, right? Where your normal podcast app is just going to play another video from my channel. Does that make sense? So you can monetize through your own stuff and through other people's stuff. But let me go back to what I wanted to show you, which is here. So you can see in January 2024, gross income was $146,000. Total expenses to run the podcast was $10,000. Net profit, $135,000. He went up $5,000 more than what he made the month before. And he shows you, well, what was the source? So he shows the source of income. Hold on, he got kids, so he's showing all his kids and stuff, right? So here's where it came from. $1,000 came from selling 56 Freedom Journals. That's his book. That's in Amazon. Another 1,000 came from 31 Mastery Journals. Another 400 came from digital packs or something. He owns a community called Podcasters Paradise that produced 4,000 a month. He added 8 new members. So altogether, 3 new members. So altogether, that was $8,000. So we had about, say, 12 grand so far. And then he has this new thing, but then most of his money came from where? Sponsorships.
Yeah, can you put that link in the chat?
Yep. Right. So,
Thank you.
but yeah,
sir.
I'll just put the link to all of them. Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But let me go back. I think this is really important because everybody see that, and then you're gonna be mad that you ain't there tomorrow. So let's go back to his original one. This was the first one. How much did he make in the first year? $26,000.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
So he's over 10 years doing it, it looks like.
Yeah. But the point of it is we see 2024 and we be mad when we ain't there. But he does a daily episode podcast, meaning he's putting out, he records 8 every week. Every Monday he records 8 episodes. He puts 1 in the can. So he'll put up 7 out of the 8, and the other 50 or whatever that he ends up with from the end of the week, he uses those for during his vacation time.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But again, I want to set the expectations. His first year, he wasn't making all of that, right? When it ended up going up is because he started selling more of this thing called Podcasters Paradise. So you see this? Watch what happened in September. I remember this when he first started doing this because I bought this product actually. So you can see Fire Nation Elite, 13,000. Sponsorships, 13,000. He put out a book, and then he put out Podcasters Paradise, and then he had mentoring. This was a mastermind. Those were sponsorships. So it wasn't $130,000 a sponsorship in the first year. But if you got a daily episode, you got enough stuff to sponsor. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
So the one thing that we'll always do is try to set the right expectations. It's not that we can't achieve our goals, it's that we set the finish line too close. Right? We set the finish line too close, and then we say, man, why I ain't get there, man? This ain't working. No, you just trying to go too fast. All right, Bonnie, what's up? And then we're going to let Tammy introduce herself. Tammy, don't you go nowhere. Tammy Bokley, I see you. Don't you go nowhere. Bonnie, go ahead.
In the win category, I have a podcast today that with Dr. Steve Hudgens. And when he's invited me, and heard about the anxiety work that I do around crazy makers, and that I have a therapeutic modality in wildlife imagery, he asked me to do 2 episodes today on both of those different topics. So that was fun. Yay. And then as you're talking about doing our own podcasting, yes, having your own living room when the Obamas come, I get it. Do you consider, thanks, Angela, do you consider memberships in the category of an authority type of creation as well as podcasting?
100%. There's a lot of ways to podcasting came up because it was a question, right?
Yes.
It was just an example from AJ of him starting his own and what it's turned into. But anytime you're leading different people, if you lead a yoga class, high five. If you do beatbox training, high five.
Got it. I'm doing
It's
it
called
out.
thought leader. Just lead somebody.
I got
If
it.
you take, I heard, what's her name came on yesterday and said she did a walk-in conference. I ain't never heard of that before, but that was interesting. So they just did a tour and you gave your speech when you was walking. That's
Yes,
very interesting. That's creative,
it
right?
is.
But
I'm
she was willing to do it, right? So everybody, y'all remember the movie Avatar?
Yep.
Y'all remember that? What was the thing of the avatars? How did they recharge? How did they recharge? Y'all remember that?
Didn't they put their thing in a tree or something?
Yeah, they had to plug in. They had to plug their tail in, and all of them plugged into the same tree.
AWA. Was it AWA or something like that? I think it was.
Yeah, I can't remember, but they all had their tails plugged in. Tail, tree, right? They all look, they would connect to each other. That's how they made that little baby avatar. Right? But they would even connect with the whatever they was flying on, the birds. They put the thing in there and he controlled it with his mind. You know, they work together. This is the forest where they all plugged into these little things on the tree. I heard a guy say this and I thought it was incredible. And what he said was, every human is walking around looking for a leader to plug into. And it resonated so much because we all are, no matter who you are, you're looking for a leader in some area of your life to plug into that can give you a break every once in a while, or at least take the stress off your back and remind you that you ain't doing too bad. Right? Sometimes we plug into folks, right? And we're getting full of stuff, but we really don't grow until we let it out and give it to other people. Right? You know, people that read all the books, but they'll never tell you none of the secrets. Like, dude, like, I read it. I love sharing what I learned. That helps me to make sure I understood it from a certain perspective. Maybe someone else may have read the same thing and seen it from a different perspective. But the key is sharing. Choose whatever platform you want, Bonnie.
I will, thanks. But I've been really, thinking of just wanting to be guesting on podcasts and do the membership. I'm not shutting out the idea of my own podcast, or even with thinking about it, like John, I think maybe you're feeling a little bit like I am about what a big commitment it might feel like. I may well do that with a partner.
But here's the thing, you're not required to do it.
No, I know that.
Always remember that. Always remember no is a valid option.
Yeah.
There's no obligation in this thing, guys.
No.
Right?
But
run your own race. I want to remind us of that, because sometimes we be thinking, I got to do this because such and such is doing it. Then I got to do that. No. You just got to win. Win in your own way. Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna show you something. Amazon, I think, invested like $50 million in Barack. We was talking about Barack Obama in the Barack Obama podcast, and that joint flopped. Did nobody want to hear him talk no more? $40 million in the trash.
A speaker he is. Oh my gosh, he's such an
Yeah,
amazing.
but again, you only can hear if you ever. I'm gonna tell you what to do. Listen to The Rock from WWE and close your eyes. It sounds just like Barack Obama. I'm telling you, can you smell what Barack is cooking? They sound just alike. But moral of the story, just because you're famous doesn't mean you should do a podcast. Just because you're unknown doesn't mean you shouldn't do a podcast. Right?
Got it. Yes.
Keep that in mind. Go ahead, Jasmine, and then we'll go ahead and let Tammy and Catherine introduce themselves.
By the way, leave my boyfriend Barack alone, okay?
I'm not picking on him. I don't even
He
know.
can come to my house anytime, pick any room.
Hey,
Anyway,
hey.
anytime.
Hey, I heard he was getting a divorce.
Oh, I don't. Pump my iron.
It's Jasmine's fault.
Never seen what was that? The Clumps. Y'all seen the Clumps with Eddie Murphy, Mike Wallace? See that?
Wash
she had
him
her
up
Mike
and
Wallace
bring him.
moment.
Wash him up and bring him to my tent. No, I wanted to bring him to my tent. He'll never be the same. I guarantee you that. Anyway, Oh God, I'm so
Good
bad.
Lord.
When I'm good, I'm good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
All right. Have what's the name of strike that out for
Look,
people be stalking Jasmine.
I
You
I
got
was
like
know.
a
sitting
bunch of
here
people on
thinking like,
YouTube knocking on your door, Jasmine.
Block me. Put it in the blurbs. No, I wanted to tell you guys something funny. So, there's quite a few stuff, and I'm used to multitasking and doing a lot of stuff, and I don't think you understand major stuff. So, I was kind of feeling a little run around yesterday. So I plugged into GPT. I said, from what you know of me, because I've been trained, it's been pretty good. What do you think? It gave me some amazing, blow sunshine my way. But in the end, he says, the one negative, you're wearing too many hats. Chat told me that. I said, Chat, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm going to add about 10 more hats to this.
Hey, I
That's
mean,
what
it
it said.
happens.
Oh
No,
my
I mean,
God.
I think the great thing about artificial intelligence is that it's intelligent in some ways, right? At least it has historical data to be able to point us in the right path based on paths that other people have gone down, right? And I think it's a great reminder sometimes. Now, here's the thing. ChatGPT is like having the smartest best friend that only can remember stuff for 10 minutes. Because you walk away from your computer, you go back and be like, I don't remember that. You like, dude, I just uploaded the file 10 minutes ago. I went to eat lunch. I come back, now I got to re-upload all the files, right? So just remember, ChatGPT got the goldfish memory. It don't remember nothing, right? But use it. Use it to your best of your ability. So sometimes it gives you wise counsel. Me and AJ figured out it can't do math that well. It sucks at math. It's the worst at math. It can't solve math problems very good, you know. But any other wins before we go to Tammy and Catherine? Tammy, I know you like Jasmine. You want to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are.
sure. I'm a managing member at Urbane Tectonics. It's a management consulting firm. I assist owners, managers, and administrators with putting management systems in place. I put in the chat BOMAC Talk. That is my new platform. I guess previous to that, I was on Blog Talk Radio. It since has evolved into Blog Talk Radio is the podcasts there aren't there anymore. I don't know if Blog Talk Radio is even still in existence, but in any case, that's where I started doing my own podcast. Then I moved over to SoundCloud and then to YouTube. So I'll have to go back into the archive and kind of repurpose all that content because now that I'm thinking about it and listening to you talk, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of content out there that I have put together that's still relevant even in the age of AI that I could repurpose. So just enjoying the information. It's a reminder and I guess a call to action.
Yeah, welcome to SpeakerHub. You're always welcome. We do this call every day, Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern. And we usually go until my next meeting. But I don't have no more meetings because I canceled them all. So, but we ain't gonna be going all day. I promise you, we're gonna stop. But yes, we usually go about an hour and a half every day, sharing how we can help you to grow whatever business you're working on, help you to get on more stages to share the messages that you're trying to share, and achieve whatever goals you have. So welcome. Catherine Severino.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Oh, good afternoon.
You want to
It's
introduce yourself and tell us
Catherine.
what you do?
Yes, my name is Catherine Severino. I work with MCO Construction. My title is Business Office Coordinator. This is my first time on the call. I'm not too familiar with it, but Miss Ann McNeil suggested that I join the call today.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego today? Usually she's She's probably exploring the Ukraine or something now. She's been all
She's in
down south.
Croatia.
Oh, that's close. That's close. It ain't that far away, right? No, that's cool. That's pretty dope. Well, Catherine, welcome. You're always welcome on here. It's Friday, right? It's Friday, the 25th. Any topics that you all want to cover? I'm gonna leave it open today, AMA style. Ask me anything about anything, and I will tell you. You want to know what I learned from we did 1,500 surveys in the last 2 months. Actually, 2 months to the date. We started February 25th. We surveyed 1,500 speakers on top of the other 1,000 we had already done. And we found out some wild stuff. Most of these people be lying. The speaking business is the biggest overpromising business on earth. What percentage of speakers do you think make at least $50,000 from speaking? What percentage do you think?
10%?
I would say
Yeah,
20.
close. A little bit over 9%. What percentage make six figures? Because everybody is six-figure speaker on Instagram. Just from speaking fees. What do you think? Let's do that data. How about we do that? That'll be cool. We could ask, let's go over the data that we learned from our surveys over the last couple months. Let me see if I can bring this up. I think that's good because I think there's a lot of BS out there and people overpromising, selling a dream. So let me bring up my information. Let's see, all time. All right, so we had 2,800 people, 2,877 start the survey, at least put something in, and 1,600 actually filled in the answers on this one that I'm showing you right now. So let me share the screen. All right, so here's the first thing. First question, what's the primary motive for speaking? This is what most people said, right? The highest thing was build their personal brand. Second highest was get more speaking gigs. It was a tie for third. I want to share my story and build relationships. Right? Very interesting. Well, how many speaking gigs did you give last month? I mean, in the last 12 months? 52% only did 5 or less. 73% did under 10. Right? Only like 4% of speakers are speaking weekly. Right? One moment. Yes, baby. Come on. Two pointers. Okay, the boss wants to go ride the carousel horse at the mall. So I guess she's going. I don't know how she's gonna get there, but she's going. But yeah, 73% of speakers did less than 1 gig a month. Right? Now, remember this, because less than 1 gig a month, if we look at what the average speaker fee is, 80% of speakers did under $5,000 per speaking gig in fees. Right? Any of these numbers surprise you? Here's the other thing. 78% of speakers generate under $25,000. 90% of them make less than $50,000, just like Jasmine said. Only 10% make more than $50,000. Only 3% plus 3%, 6% do over $100,000 a year. Right? Very interesting numbers. Thoughts on those, just that part? Is that surprising?
It is surprising and helpful because when I see numbers like that, makes me sit down and say, okay, this is what most people make. How can I, based on my goals and my vision, how can I add to that? So at least you have a baseline of where to come from. But if you start out and say, you know what, just like in real estate, oh, I'm at $200,000 a year, I'm $1 million thing. And when you dissect it, you realize that the numbers are all screwed. It's not gross, you know, it's gross, but it's not net. So I like these numbers because I'll sit down and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do to improve myself, including being on SpeakerHub and making sure that I am going to excel, because nothing is you know, like anybody, like you said yesterday, Ron, the same guy who, you know, you hate to pitch, you hate to cold call, and you know, the guy in the top echelons that is up there, he also hates to do pitch and he hates to do cold calls, right?
Yep.
So it's the same thing with when you look at where you are right now, is saying, okay, I know there are people who make more. I know this is what it is. And it's a personal preference to me. If I figure if an average person makes 50 and I decide that I want to make 100,000, I'm going to have to incorporate a hell of a lot more stuff, you know, like courses and all
Yep.
that to get to that.
Yep. And that goes into Valencia's question, which was in the chat, which is that just from speaking fees? Yes. So we wanted to be very specific because we didn't want to cloud the waters, right? So we ask a very specific question. Do not include your digital product sales and consulting fees. Just tell us what you get from speaking fees, right? Because if you have this information knowing that, hey, wait a minute, they told me I could be a six-figure speaker and they're going to give me $15,000 to tell what happened to me when I fell off my bike when I was 15. Yo, hey, that may not be exactly true, right? Not saying that you can't do it, but I'm saying a lot of times we sell the outliers.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? We sell the outliers. We do it too, right? Let me tell you, we got 64,000 people that use SpeakerHub, right? I think 2,000 of them have a SpeakerHub Pro account. But we see the same people in the top 10 every week because some of them don't use it. It's just the way that it works, right? Some people don't use it. They pay for it, they don't use it. That's not my fault. It's their money. Do what you want to do. But the winners are going to win. So as business folks, we can only report the data that we have. You see what I mean? So we usually highlight the winners to show that it's possible, but that doesn't mean that the person will do the work necessary. So I don't knock them for highlighting their people. I knock the promise. Does that make sense? If I had a speaker that made $1 million in a weekend, I would be like, look at what's the name? He made $1 million in a weekend. Wasn't my fault, but he did it. Right? You know? But I think it's malpractice if I said, Jasmine, you could do it next weekend. Jasmine may not have all the tools in place to do that. Do you see what I mean? So I just want to, here, we want to make sure that we're giving you the right base so that we can say, okay, I know if I'm trying to hit six figures, it's going to have to come from my other products and services. Or I got to change my behavior. Let me show you why. Because look at this here. What's your largest source of leads for speaking gigs? Well, what are most people doing? Is this a proactive thing? Referrals and word of mouth. 62% rely on referrals and word of mouth. Do they have control over that? Willie, can you tell me how many referrals you're going to get tomorrow?
No, I can't tell you that right now how many I get.
Yeah, it's passive, right? Can you tell me how many people are going to hire you back as repeat business?
I'm hoping 100%.
Yeah, but you can't control that, right?
No, no.
Can you control who Mark Zuckerberg going to show your TikTok dances to?
No.
No. The only thing you can control is how many emails you send or how many calls you make. You see that? So the cold outreach number is the only thing that's here that they can control. So no wonder they're not getting booked very much because they're taking a passive approach. They're not being proactive. They're not doing the outreach. They're waiting on people to come to them. Do you see that? So it's not that they're not talented, it's that they may not have the right tools or systems to do the outreach. So only 8% of speakers are using a system similar to SpeakerHub Pro. 8%. Right? And this survey is not just of SpeakerHub members. We do the same survey of our LinkedIn group where our members are not even in that group. Right? What's the size of audience? Right? Only about 30%, 35% speak to an audience larger than 100. Look at that. 63% is under 100 people. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah. Hey, Ron, do you know if a lot of them like put themselves in one place and say, well, I won't travel this far or travel that far, or I won't go out of the country or something like that? Is that part of it as well?
Well, I mean, if you're not getting, let me show you something. Watch this. Here we go. How many speaking opportunity calls do your team typically hold per month? 80% of them not even having any meetings to be able to say what they're not going to do. Again, they waiting to be discovered. You're from St. Charles. When was the last time somebody knocked on your door and offered you your dream?
Not one time.
Yeah. Only the Jehovah's Witnesses and other folks knock on your door offering you something. People selling cookies, Girl Scout cookies.
Selling gutters and roofs and stuff too as well.
Yeah. Like they're going to sell you an ADT alarm system, a roof, and Jesus. That's it. Right? You see what I mean? So it's not that they're over segmenting themselves. They're inactive. Again, now, why do I want to bring this up? Because this means it's a huge opportunity for y'all. You can beat anybody in a race if they sitting down. These folks just sitting down waiting. You can win this race. At worst, you're going to be in 92nd place because only 8% of them are doing outreach. Just join that 8%, you'll beat 92% of them. Jasmine, any thoughts? I'm curious about your thoughts and comments. Again, this isn't a poop on the industry. That's not what I'm doing. I'm showing you the opportunity to use these stages to, number one, get yourself booked because they ain't doing nothing. They just waiting. And number two, the income opportunity is huge. So while everybody else is pitching, if they are pitching and they're putting up a fee barrier, imagine you pitching and the fee ain't important because you're going to sell something.
Yeah, it is, in listening, every situation, there's something to be, to learn. Give you a quick story, as they say, Jehovah's Witness, it jumps to me. My dad was a minister, right? So he has his own, but every Thursday, without fail, the Jehovah's Witness, two ladies would come and sit, and my mom would allot them the time, make them tea and sit. And my dad would say, "What, I'm the minister of the church. Why are you entertaining, the Jehovah's Witness? That's not a religion." My mom would say, "Listen," and I've heard it several times. She says, "Even the dull and ignorant have their story, and there is always something to learn. Don't think because you are, Mr. Head of your church." This is the pastor's wife saying that your way is the only way. So you're listening, you're taking everything in here and making your life better. That's how I look at it.
100%. Even these calls. If I ever come across as if I know it all, my bad, because they ain't the intent, right? My thing, I want to synthesize the information and the data that we collect and then share it with you guys so that you can leverage it to your best advantage. If that's John wanting to start a podcast, if that's Jadika using it to turn podcast interviews into speaking gigs, if it's someone, just using the tips. All my job is to take the information that I find and give it away. Right? So when we collect this data, it's not a accusation on the industry. It's like, look at the opportunity. Like, this is, let me give you a great example. There was a kid who was always happy. I mean, he was super duper 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 happy all the time. And his parents said, we need to kind of calm him down a little bit. You know, his brother always upset, he always happy. This year, we're going to give the one that's always happy all terrible gifts. And we're going to give the one that's always sad all the good gifts. So Christmas was coming up, and it was like, we're going to give him a bucket of poop. So they went to Bonnie's equestrian field and they scooped up a bunch of fertilizer from the horses. And they put it under the tree with a bow on it. And the kid came downstairs, and as he saw his angry brother looking at everything, he was super duper happy. Good to see you, Sharon. He saw his angry brother looking at his toys, and for the first time, his angry brother was happy. And he said, oh man, this is incredible. He must have got great gifts. He went and he took the wrapping paper off of his bucket, and he saw it was filled with poop. And the kid started jumping up and down. He was like, yes, yes. And I mean, he was happy. And his parents thought he was crazy. He said, this boy got to be something wrong with him. Ain't no way in the world he happy about this. And they said, well, so Mikey, tell me about your gift. He said, I love it. They're like, well, what do you love about it? He said, with all this shit, there got to be a pony around here somewhere. It's all about perspective, guys. A lot of the times, the opportunity is based on your perspective and how you see it. So you can look at this data and say, man, this is terrible for me as a speaker. Or you can look at it and say, everybody else gonna look at it this way and they gonna quit. I'm gonna keep going because Ron has shown me that I can sell my products and make 5 times more than them, which means I got more marketing money to grow my business. I got more avenues. If I can remove the fee barrier, I can get more speaking gigs because they trying to get paid. I'm willing to even sometimes pay to go on this show or to speak at this event because I know I'm going to make money out of the audience. The opportunities are just a reflection of your mindset. We don't like to hear it, but it's the truth. We all look at the same thing and we see different things. Let me show you one last story as we end for the day. Bonnie, if I had a 1,000, let's say I had 999 cubic zirconias, right? And one of them was a diamond. They were all 1 carat size. I had 1,000 of them. And I put them all on the table. And I said, you got 1 minute. If you could find the diamond in the cubic zirconia, you could have the 1 carat diamond. You think you could do it?
Maybe.
Okay. Valencia, you think you could do it?
Find a diamond in the cubic zirconia.
Yeah, so we're going to get, look at this, cubic zircon, right? Right? It looked just like a diamond,
Right.
right?
The weight.
Moissanite, diamond, zircon. I'm putting all them down there. We'll put 1,000 of them, 1,000 of these, right?
Mhm.
We're going to line them up. And you're going to have to find the 1 diamond. If you find it, you got a minute. You think you could do it?
I couldn't do it. I
How
could
much
try.
time you think you'll need? If I gave you an hour, could you do it?
I'd have to have the right skills to know how to identify the diamond.
Okay.
Oh, would the diamond sink in water?
No, you ain't no water. It's on the table. Did you put my diamond in no daggone water? All right. Anybody here think they could do it?
I'll try.
Okay. Right. How would you determine the difference?
I get a glass and I'll run the
Yeah, everybody. No, oh, you're gonna get a glass. Okay, run it on the. Okay, now they give you one of the little spectacle things. You know the little eyeball thing, where they look at them. You
I
see
wouldn't
them
be able to
doing
read
that?
it.
Monocle.
What's it called?
Is it a monocle?
I don't know. The diamond glasses. Shoot, I have no idea. Let me see. What do you call a deer with no eyes? I have no idea. That's what it's called. Diamond glasses. One eye tester. Glasses. I think that's what it's called. I don't know what that thing is. I bet it come up. Google know what I'm talking about. Nah, them ain't it. Diamond one eye tester thing.
Take glasses out.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but it's the thing when you use with your eye. Y'all know what I'm talking about. This thing he got right here.
Yep.
Yeah, right? You think you could do it? Anybody think they could do it? Right? Okay. So someone said they would need to know how to identify it, right? Do you know what the key difference is in those three different gems?
One is made by pressure.
They all are.
Okay.
Real quick, you know what the difference is? These two would be perfect. The diamond is the only one with flaws.
Mm.
So when you look at it through the thing, if it's clear, you just toss it to the side. You just go through real quick. You're looking for a speck or a flaw, either a crack or a little bitty piece of black carbon in the diamond, right? But now that you know that, you think you could do it if you had an hour to go through all 1,000 of them? Yeah, because now you know what to look for. That's the difference. In everything, some people just know what to look for. We all looking at the same things that look the same to the naked eye. But in reality, see, diamond with flaws. Watch this. Diamond.
I missed it. Ron, what do you mean? Flaw? I missed the.
Yep. So I'll show you.
Yeah.
Look here. See the cavity inside of there? You see this inclusion? Got another thing inside of it. They got all types of different stuff that's inside of the diamond. Right? So diamonds have inclusions. They have flaws. You see the little black specks in there? But if you were looking at cubic zirconia, it don't have any of that stuff. Right? Look at that. You see these different things? These are all inside of a little diamond. That's how you can tell the difference between the real ones and the fake ones. Even the ones that are synthetic, that are machine made, they still have those same inclusions. Right? So that's how you can tell the difference. But now that you know, it's just about perspective. Look at everything else. Like that data I showed you, some people will look at that and be like, man, I don't want to be a speaker. I look at it and I'm like, dude, this is a great time to be a speaker. Especially if you got products and services. Right? Any other questions before we head out for the weekend? Was this helpful? Right? So be encouraged, man. A lot of opportunity out here. But it's gonna be tough to make it just on speaking fees. Right? It's hard to make it just on speaking fees. But if you can add them products and services, sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. All right, guys, my call to action for the weekend is have some fun, relax, chill out. It's spring. We finally in springtime, man. Y'all get to relax a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a
Anything
conference.
else for me before we go? What were you gonna say, Willie?
I have a conference this weekend, so I'm gonna be busy on mostly tomorrow, I think. So yeah.
Hey, that's cool too.
I relax on Sundays.
You can relax at the conference.
There you go.
Hey, Ron, Jasmine asked for that link to the one pager template.
Okay. Yep. I'll get it to her. I'll
Okay.
text it to her. I got her. I'll text it directly to her. All right.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
Okay.
All right.
Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.